Vincent van Gogh was a visionary. His eye for how to portray surrealistic landscapes and portraits was revolutionary. Much of his work was seen through the eye of someone suffering. Many of his works were metaphorical for his struggle with alcoholism and mental health. During a period of 4 years between 1885 and 1889, he created at least 43 self-portraits. They featured his high contrasted color palette style. From a content point of view, they are showing different points in his life over this 4-year period, which is incredibly fascinating. Additionally, his other portrait works are in the similar style, and these were his favorite subjects. Quote, "What I'm most passionate about, much more than all the rest in my profession, is the portrait, the modern portrait," end quote. Many of his paintings are known worldwide and have inspired some very interesting spin-offs. Most notably an episode of Doctor Who in which the Doctor and Amy Pond help Vincent van Gogh interpret visions he saw from Stonehenge. Take the story with a grain of salt, it's Doctor Who, but the main premise of the episode is to show the cool relationship between how his mind worked and the artwork he created. Some of his most famous works, aside from his portraits, are of his landscapes. A lot of these later paintings are said to have reflected his wish to get back to his lucid mental state. In a metaphorical sense, they are very interpretive of his state of mind, much the same way his self-portraits were, such as Wheat Field with Crows. After his death, as with many artists, Van Gogh's works aged better than they did when he was alive. While he was alive, he did sell his paintings and had a comfortable living. However, many were still tight due to the nature of his work and the cost of supplies. His top 5 most valuable paintings are in order. The Avenue of Les Alecomptes is sold for $66 million in 2015. At number 4, Wooden Cabins Among the Olive Trees and Cypresses, sold for $71 million in 2021. Number 3, Self-Portrait Without a Beard, $72 million in 1998. This was actually one of Van Gogh's most intimate portraits. He painted it within the walls of the Saint-Remy-de-Provence asylum where he was a patient. This portrait was a birthday gift for his mother. This painting is not on display and remains in an anonymous private collection. Number 2 is Laborer in a Field, and this sold for $81 million in 2017. And number 1 was the portrait of Dr. Paul Gaucher, $83 million in 1990, and with an inflated value for today's currency of $180 million. Paul Gaucher was an extremely important person for Van Gogh. Dr. Gaucher was with Van Gogh in the final weeks of his life. He was the artist's caretaker after his release from the asylum in 1890. Van Gogh wrote to the doctor at one point, quote, "I have found a complete friend, even something like a new brother," end quote. Sadly, Van Gogh would take his life shortly after. However, his legacy is incredible and has enriched the world with so much beauty and inspiration. And just an addendum, if you are suffering from any mental health issues, there is a link below to get help. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode from Everything Has History.